G'day, welcome back to Dade vs. Cynan. We're going on with, again, Combat Commander Europe with our 2011 Prescon tournament Annihilation between the Russians and the Germans. We are at time 5 of 5, and if you saw the last one, after a lot of toing and froing with the initiative card, the Russians finally retained the initiative and got a stay of execution to try and get some more VPs before the game ends. So to bring you up to date fully, for those who missed it, we've got one Guards SMG sitting over there by himself. This is Sergeant Maskey and his people who came down from objectives 1 and 5. And they're starting to move in on the bunker here. This SS squad has moved out of the bunker into objective 2 to try and hold them off. This is our only surviving satchel charge. We've got a Volksgrenadier unit in here. It came on as a reinforcement in objective 3, and we still have Lieutenant Schrader and his people still in this trench line here. And we took out the bods in this trench. So we have our Lieutenant Gulkovich, I think it is, sorry, with a Veteran Guards SMG and an elite team sitting in here, another Guards SMG here. And this could be a very quick video, depending on what goes. The Germans have only got about 8 or 10 cards left by the looks of it, so we're not far off another sudden death check. So let's see what we're up to. So the Germans are up. They finished their last turn with a recover, and they have picked up an advance, artillery request, and a fire. So the artillery request is no good to them. So recover they don't need at the moment. So it's fire or advance. Right. So what they really need to do is to try and knock some of these buggers out, as in knock some of the Russians out. So what I'm thinking I might do, I've only got the one fire, that's the trouble. But I really need to try and take out these blokes with the satchel charge. So what I intend to do first is I'm going to use the fire order. And with the fire order, I'm going to use the heavy machine gun. And it's going to fire over into here to try and stop these effectively. So we have an 8, 9 coming across into here. And I'm going to use the sustained fire with it, so that gives us 11 into there, minus the 2 for the hindrance here is 9. And oh, God almighty, poor Germans, only got a 3. Okay, so 12. Not what they were looking for. Okay, so this one's here for 8, plus 1 is 9, and 3 is 12 anyway. And gets a 2, so he's fine. And Sergeant Maskey's there for 11, and he's fine as well. So that sort of screwed it for them. They can't do anything else. I nearly hung on to the advance and thought about advancing. Excuse me. Bless me. Excuse me. I nearly thought about moving the SS into here, advancing into there. But I didn't have an ambush, and I could see that the Russians had at least one, so that's why I didn't do that. So 2 cards for the Germans, back to the Russians, and they finished with a recover and a fire which had the ambush on it. And they've got another fire, a recover, an advance, and a fire. So what do we want to do here? So I've got to the stage where I think I need to try and take him out just for the points alone. So I'm going to play the advance. And I'm going to advance the guard's SMG into objective 3. And the Germans do not have a ambush, but we do. Now we're going in 7 against 5, but I think it's worthwhile using the ambush just to make sure of it. So I'm hoping 7 against 2 that we've got a damn good chance at this. So Germans first. They've got 2 plus 6 is 8, and we're sitting there for 7 already, and 7 is 14. And the event is breeze, which doesn't affect anything because we have no smoke out there. So the grenadiers are gone. That's 2 VP for the Germans, for the Russians, which brings them down to 7. And they've picked up objective 3 now as well, which is worth 2 VP. So they lose 2 down to 5. We gain 2. We're now down at, the Germans have 3 victory points. Okay, what else can we do? We need to kick some other bots. Okay, we have a couple of recovers and we have a couple of fires. Okay. Okay, so we're going to use this fire order as our second order. And this guard's SMG is going to fire into here. So he's firing for 6. And we're going to use hand grenades for 8 into there. So we have 8 plus 10, 18, and a sniper. And the sniper is hitting at G4, miles from anyone, all the way up here. Okay, so this guy's sitting in here for 8, 9, 10, 11, and they have nothing to help at the moment. So 11 and 4, nowhere near enough, so he's gone. Well, broken, not gone. And we have one more order to give, so trying to take him out is going to be bloody difficult. But we're going to try. So we're going to fire. And we are going to fire with whom? We're going to use this guard's SMG for 6. 1 is 7, minus 2 is 5 into here. So we're pushing, that's for sure. 5 and 8, 13. Not looking all that flash, because he's already sitting there for 13 and 5, so he's fine. And that's 5 cards for the Russians. Right. The Germans have 2 recovers, an artillery request, and a fire. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to recover. So again, this bloke here, for 10 plus 3 is 13, gets a 7, so he's back. They're tough to kill, very tough to kill. Okay, now. Ba, 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 da, 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 da. Okie dokie. So what they're going to do now is they're going to fire as their second order. And they're going to activate Lieutenant Schrader and his mob here. And the first thing that's going to fire is going to be the mortar to here. Like that. So it's firing for 9 into there. So we've got a distance of 2. 5 times 1. It's great. So it hits there for 9 plus 8 is 17. And we are in there for 11. And do we have anything to help? We do, but we're not going to use it. Okay, so we've got 11 in there. And that's 18, which is enough. And the event is eliminate 1 broken Russian unit adjacent to an enemy. We have none, so that's good. So that is that. So now this guy can fire. So he's firing for 6, 7 into here. And the Germans have no cards. So time. We are now at time 6 of Sudden Death 5. So the Germans want this to finish. So they want a 5 or less. The Russians want a 6 or more. The Russians have the initiative at the moment. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. We cut the deck. And we get a 3, which is what the Germans wanted. So the Russians give the initiative to the Germans and say redraw it. And it's a 7, which is wonderful for the Russians. So the Germans go, no, you can have the initiative back and I'm going to redraw. And they get a 4, which is what they wanted. And the Russians go, no, bugger off, redraw. And they get a 6. And a 6 is just enough for the Russians. So the Germans go, no, bugger off. And they redraw again and they get a 6, which is just enough for the Russians. And the Russians have got the initiative, so we're going to go for another turn. Okay. So we survive. So the Germans get a victory point, which is wonderful. The Germans get to use their dig-in if they want, but there is nowhere they can use it. And the Russians do not have a dig-in. So 9 into here plus 5 is 14. And he's in there for 11. And 5 is 16, so it's safe. So that's the end of the Germans' turn, and they get 2 cards. This is lasting longer than I thought it would. Right. Russians finished with a recover and have picked up a move, a command confusion, but the hand grenades may come in handy, another move, a fire, and a move. Okay. So we've got 3 moves, and a fire, and a recover, and a command confusion. Okay. Now the Germans have an artillery request and a recover at the moment, and I don't know what the other 2 are. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a move. So do this one, and I'm going to activate Sergeant, no, I'm not. I'm just going to activate this SMG here with the satchel charge, and they're going to move straight into there for 2. Okay, do the Germans have a fire? They have an advance and an artillery request, so no. So he's set up for our next turn to hopefully take out the bunker. Or take him out and simply move into here. Okay, so that's as far as he's going to move. I'm going to use this move, and I'm going to bring this guard's SMG from all the way over here. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think, sorry. gone crackers. No, 4 and 5 into the trench. And that brings him back into the command radius of the lieutenant. Okay, we have one more order. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a final move. And I'm going to move the lieutenant and his people up into this building here. Like this. So if they get a good advance, they can take all these out, hopefully. And that's it. Russians are done. They get 3 new cards. And the Germans have artillery requests by 2, an advance and a recover. So, now, do these want to try and take these out? Or does he want to go into there and try and take that out? So if he goes into there and takes that out, that's the last satchel charge. But if the bunker gets taken, that doesn't really matter. It's going to be this here. And we know that the Russians have a fire command. But we also know they have an ambush at the moment. So what's more important? And taking him out is more important. But as soon as I move out of there, he's going to be reduced to a 3 up against a 7, which doesn't make much sense at all. Or I move these ones into here, advance into here, but at least this one is going to be reduced, which will leave us with 7, 8, 9, 10, I think 11 against 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. So yeah, it's much of a muchness. I think we've got to go for the points. Okay, we've got to try. So we are going to advance. And we are going to advance Lieutenant Schrader and his people into here, out of the trench line, like that. And the Russians are going to play an ambush. So they're going to cut this bloke down. That way they only lose 1. And do the Russians have any more? And they do not, which is great. Okay, so the Russians are defending, so they'll go first. Just get these out of the way. So this bloke is 6 plus 1 for his box is 7, plus 1 for being a veteran is 8, plus 1 for the boss man is 9, plus 4 is 13, 14, 15. So 15 and 5 is 20. Okay, can be done, can be done. Okay, here we have 6 plus 7 for its boxed value, plus 1 more is 8 for the command. So we have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so they need a 9 to kill everybody, which should be helpful to them, or a 10 to kill the Russians. And they've got an 8. It's not enough. So they're dead. Because the Russians are the ones that actually have the initiative. And that is enough troops for the Germans to surrender, let alone the VPs that they lost. So they lost 2, 4, 5 VPs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. which puts the VPs over to the Russians anyways, but they've got more than enough for that. So that's how we finished up. Now, I think the Germans did very bloody well to hold them. The Russians were quite aggressive for a while, with the lieutenant and his people attacking over on the German left flank. And if I had brought the sergeant down from up here earlier, then I probably could have made a hell of a difference. But I didn't want to get in too close too soon, not when I had artillery to use. And the artillery came in extremely handy for holding this bunker up for a while, so that it couldn't do anything. So thank you very much again. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. What are we doing next? So it looks like we're going to do Tournament Battle Pack number 6 by Brian Collars again. G'day, Brian. And this one is One Step Beyond and uses map 8. And this is Central Russia, March 1943. Okie dokie. So this one will be interesting. It's a bit difficult to do because this is a simultaneous hidden setup, so I don't know if I can really do this one justice. What's the one after that? Okay, we're going to skip that one. We're actually going to go into Tournament Battle. Hang on a check. Let's make sure about this. Yep, okay. So we're going to do Tournament Battle Pack 11. No, oh, God. Hang on a tick. Do I have that map? Let's check first. I think I do. I do. So we can do it. Okay. So this uses map 72 from the Tournament Battle Pack. So this will be Italians against Americans in Sicily. So we're heading away from sunny Russia for a while, and the Germans and the Russians, and we're going to have the Americans and the Italians for a change. So I hope to see you back. Looking forward to your comments and corrections, as there's liable to be tons of them as usual. And I hope you take care, and I also hope to see you next time. So bye for now.